So, good morning. Sorry for being late, but as some of you have seen, there is some crowded buses that sometimes don't stop, so we have to wait. So today, this morning, the idea is to have an interactive session. It means that all TC chairs will present some thoughts about what could be the future of manufacturing and logistics systems in order to identify what can be done in order to not only be more attractive, but also to more be in line with the needs of industry. The Coordinating Committee 5 of Ifac is one of the 9 committees and is in the topics of applications. Application of automatic control, application of automatization, application of computer engineering in enterprises. That coordinating committee deals mainly with control of manufacturing plants, modeling of these manufacturing plants, integration of systems, integration of system with humans, interoperability between those systems. We are dealing with the enterprise as a whole, from the shop floor till the management of the enterprise, and we go to the we are studying in that coordinating committee supply chain and logistics, with some applications in large-scale systems. I would like to present now really quickly the technical committees that are in this coordinating committee, and then I will give the floor to each of the chairs of the technical committees, and after I will try to chair and to manage some discussion between everybody. So it's not a session where we will talk, it's a session where you will talk, we will listen and take notes, mainly. And I hope that you are ready to give your opinion on the future of manufacturing and logistics. The first technical committee, first because it's number 1, but it's not maybe the best. I don't know. Is 5.1, 5 because it's the coordinating committee 5, 1 because it's the first. And its name is Manufacturing Plant Control. The name of the technical committees have changed during the years. I cannot tell you what was the name before this name, but each TC chairs, sometimes they decide to change a little bit the name of their own technical committee. So this technical committee is chaired by Professor Benoit Young. I know very well because he's from my institution. I took the opportunity to go to the website of the technical committee, and I put on the slide the scope as the technical committee chair and the technical committee members define. So if we look at 5.1, as you can see, I will not read all these things, but as you can see, it's modeling, it's production, logistics, manufacturing, dependable system, discrete event system, e-manufacturing, so this is a little bit futuristic already, advanced maintenance. You can see the keywords of the scope of the technical committee. So this technical committee is more dealing with manufacturing, shop floor, and control system. If I can summarize partially, but Benoit will tell much more about the technical committee. The 5.2, Manufacturing Modeling for Management and Control, is chaired by Professor Dmitry Ivanov. The scope, as I took from the website, is this one, so it's more sentence. As you can see, there is models everywhere, so it's a lot of models. Models for supply network, model for manufacturing tasks, model for architectures, model for process planning, for inventory control, for communication, they are talking a little bit about Industry 4.0, about cyber physical system. So it's a lot of modeling and management. So it's normally complementary to the TC 5.1. The Technical Committee 5.3 is entitled Enterprise Integration and Networking. It means integration inside the enterprise or between enterprises or networks of enterprises. And this is chaired by Dr. Georg Weschhardt. Sorry, Georg, if I don't spell your name very well. The scope, as I've been able to take from the website, is enterprise integration, enterprise architecture, cyber physical system, IoT, cobots, HMI, manufacturing and services engineering, product life cycle, virtual enterprise. So it's quite broad, as you can see. Smart, sensing, sustainable enterprise, everything around the enterprise, everything about how to model and how to set up enterprises to work better. And the last technical committee that unfortunately is not with us today, so he will not talk, is the 5.4. The name is Large-Scale Complex System, chaired by Professor Xiaofan Wang. So the scope is more manufacturing at large, but for system with large number of variables, with uncertainties, network structures, everything with a big number of systems, big number of variables, decentralized systems, multi-level systems, multi-agent systems, risk-based decision making. So this is more inside, it seems, the control system and large systems. So as you can see, if you look only at this scope, sometimes it may be difficult to understand really what is the difference between the TCs. Sometimes we can imagine what is the difference. One first question that I can ask you, are these scopes, are these topics sexy? Are they really, do you want to work in this domain, in these things? Are they attractive? Maybe attractive for the enterprises, but are they embedding a kind of vision of the manufacturing control? I'm not sure. It's why we decided that let's put everything on the table. Let's discuss between us. First of all, to clarify what each other is doing, each other in the TC, so each other of you is doing. Let's see if there is overlapping. Maybe when there is overlap, maybe it's because there are different perspectives of the same thing. So let's define the perspective. Let's define the vocabulary, because probably when we talk about Industry 4.0, we heard this word a lot this week, you know. The definition is not the same if you are inside the enterprise, outside the enterprise. So let's define the terms, and let's try to define what can be the future of manufacturing and logistics systems. Based on that result that we will have, at least partially today, I will ask the TC chair to try to redefine a little bit their scope and objectives, to be more clear, to be more attractive, to be more maybe a little bit futuristic without being science fiction, and to have a coordinating committee 5 with 4 TCs that really are a view about what you, as a researcher, you want to do, because finally, you decide. The committees will do what you want. If you don't, nobody wants to work on one domain, we forget that topic. So you are the voice. We are here only to structure your voice. So let me start to give the voice to Benoît Young, chair of the Technical Committee 5.1, in order to understand exactly what they are doing and what they want to do in the future. Thank you.
So good morning, everybody. So thanks, Hervé, for this introduction. So I would like just to repeat that my name is Benoît Young. So I give here you my email if you are, of course, interested to be in connection with myself in order to exchange about the TC 5.1, and also why not that if you want to be active on the TC. So my talk will be, I think, 5-10 minutes, just to give two main ideas about the TC, which is mainly to clarify what we can call control or manufacturing plant control, but also, of course, to give some technical aspect about the TC 5.1. So just to give some element about the context, so I put the list about the past chairs. So just to give an idea also about the guy who were very active on the TC, and I think so you know some of them. So in the way that to have a good idea also about that the skill that we have on the TC. I have also put the website. So as a title is manufacturing plant control, what means that we have to consider manufacturing plant. So what means manufacturing plant means first that it is something like which is complex, because based about the interaction about a lot of components at the field level, at the MES level, at the RP level. So it means that if you want to control that, it is sometimes very difficult because you have also the dynamic of the system. It means that the manufacturing plant is evolving during the life of the plant. And also, of course, what we are focused more in relation to some other TC on Ifac, we are really more focusing about manufacturing means discrete event systems. So it means that we have to control, of course, the evolution about state of the system in relation to about what it is expected. So it was the main sentences we can describe TC 5.1 is this one, is deal with the aspect of theory, modeling, methodology, tool, application, related to automation, information, and communication technology needed to control the manufacturing plant. I put also two documents you can, of course, find on some paper journals, which were done some years ago by some people involved, of course, about the TC, in order to give some foundation about what it is inside the TC. So I think one aspect could be that to discuss, to make a new paper in the way that to give the challenge for the TC in the scope that whatever they would like that to have a good overview about what is happening in the future. So this one is just to give some element of the context. So what means control and what are the paradigm about the control? I try just to synthesize that. It means that at the beginning of the story about TC 5.1, it was mainly about control about integrated or hierarchical systems. It means that how you control the good flow in relation to the informational flow. And so as we are hierarchical, that means that we have a problem that we are not in the same level. So it means that control could be, of course, that to find the right processes to be integrated at the RP system, in the MES system, in order to control what is happening in the field level. In the evolution about the control, you have also some interoperable control. What it means that by the evolution of the plant, some plant are, of course, distributed, and you have something about that now you try to synchronize more that the informational flow with the product flow, but without something which is more based about the time, and that you have not the same type of control because how you are distributed. It means that you have also some troubles that to try to harmonize the control in order to obtain the global performances of the system. And so what we have now, we have also to attack some trouble about control for what we call intelligent system or adaptable system, in which now even some capacity are directly integrated, embedded on the product system, or directly integrated on the component system. So it means the control should be also very different, because the control could not be centralized, it could not be distributed, it could be really implemented on some components. So this paradigm shows the evolution also of the topics that you can have on the TC 5.1 about what means control. So if we look now about how this TC 5.1 scope could be in relationship with the TC, as quite explained by Hervé, for me that the relationship with the TC 5.2 is that in TC 5.1 we are more based about control, about how we can construct the control, how we can validate the control, but of course the control has to be inside a global architecture about manufacturing, and the problem of optimization of this global architecture, how you simulate this global architecture, what is the tool we can use is TC 5.2, from my point of view. TC 5.3 is, of course, how we have distributed a part of our problem about control. We need also to speak about how we can make interoperability between this distribution about the control. And the last one is TC 5.4. From my point of view, that as we are attack some trouble about manufacturing plant, it means that we are complex, so as we are complex, necessary that we have to think about problem to solve interaction, and something is emerging on the control. So it means that about the evolution of this paradigm, means that the TC 5.1 frame should be to attack something about, of course, that theoretical and modeling paradigm, which is more based about something empirism or system theory or systemics or cognitics or kinetics. And kinetics is exactly what we try to do about the IMS community, about the fact that what could be an intelligent control for manufacturing in the way that we have to distribute a part of the capacity inside each component or inside each subcomponent, and we have to try to merge, to assemble this component in order to interact together and to form the solution. So in that way, it means that we have the frame of the TC 5.1 about control. So I mean, if you look about the paper that you have about the TC 5.1 in relation to this paradigm, you have some paper that it is more based about functional vision of the control. That means that what it is strategic to have to control the manufacturing plant. But you have, after that, we can go from the strategic vision to the business processes we have to implement for control the system, and then to go more about the organic view means that some people also propose some paper about the organization on the control, someone about what type of IT we need in order to support the control, and globally the IT infrastructure we have to implement. So we cover that. So it means that TC 5.1, we have the evolution of the control, and we have also the way that to go from the functional aspect until the very technical one. For my point of view, it's quite a good synthesis about what we have inside TC 5.1. So it is now to be more concrete. So from the general definition given by the TC 5.1, if we take this evolution of paradigm and this principle to go from functional view to organic one, we can say that we are addressing scientific challenge, mainly those related to IMS paradigm, and also with to try to, for this control, to achieve the dependability properties, and also to this control to all the lives about the manufacturing plant. So it means that we are also attack some problem of maintenance. So this view means that today on the TC 5.1 we have 3 working groups. So one working group, it's about intelligent manufacturing systems, so it is led now by Yuval. So this working group is, okay, we are working about the paradigm about IMS, so what means control about IMS, what it is new about IMS. And one aspect could be that one very active part about the work of IMS is to organize workshops, something each 2 years. So the next one should be in 2019. It depends that it is, at this time, it is a discussion that to be in Canada or in Israel. So the second working group is more about, not about the paradigm, but mainly about how you achieve the problem of dependability about this control. How you achieve the fact that when you distribute the control, when you put some software inside some components, how you are sure that the software are really operating in the way that to achieve the expected performances. So it is the second working group, which is dependable manufacturing system and equitable system. It is led by Jean-Marc Faure, which is a French people located in Paris. And also that the workshop that this working group organized is the workshop which is called DCDS. So I don't know when will be the next one, but it is planned to have something in also 2019. And the last working group is the working group about advanced maintenance engineering, service and technology, which is more based about the aspect about maintenance, about this manufacturing plant, about the fact that how we can maintain the system in operational conditions. So it is led today by Marco, and it explains something in normal way that we have the next workshop, which could be in UK, so that all these things has to be checked and controlled. So what is the evolution now about the TC 5.1 in relation to this paradigm? So what I introduce here, I think so it's what we try also to discuss from the beginning of INCOM, is the evolution today about the manufacturing plan, which is more based about the initiative like Factory of the Future, Industry 4.0, advancing manufacturing in US, etc. So from my point of view, this initiative are mainly promoting one aspect, which is servitization. So that means that we are not only to control the flow through the control the information, but we have also to control the service that this flow has to produce. So I think in that way it is a novelty about the TC 5.1. And for that, of course, that main aspect is digitalization, because we have for the servitization, we need to have the data and to use the data for creating these services. It is quite what was explained yesterday by Andrew Kuziak about the data science, how we use the data to control the things. So from my point of view, digitalization is also introduced, of course, the problem of cyber physics system. What it means that we have also on the control to use the capacity that to have not only the physical world, but also to have the cyber world. And to use the fact that we are able also for the control of the system to use the two aspects and to match between the two aspects. This cyber physical consideration, of course, introduce a lot of technology which were already mentioned yesterday, like, of course, IoT, like, of course, cloud computing, ontology, what you want. So it means that this technology, about what I said about the level, about the control, so the technology have to be introduced, of course, about ICT architecture, the control. So it means that perhaps the technology also could not bring only some added value, but could also bring some constraints. In order to control the system, we can speak about cybersecurity or the problem, of course, that if we distribute a lot of technology. So it's right that now that this consideration means that TC 5.1 has to integrate now the CPS consideration and mainly about production, what we call CPPS, about cyber physical production systems. So cyber physical process will really modify the control from what I call also intelligent control to CPS-based control. So I take some figure in some paper that to put in evidence that the feature we will have to respect by the control will be different. We could speak about, of course, connectedness, responsiveness. So it means that this CPPS system will introduce new characteristic about the control I would like to have on my system. So about TC 5.1, I think it should be an evolution about what we have to do. So just to finalize, it means that some challenges, it is just to open also the discussion, is that if we consider these CPPS challenges, we have of course to speak about what we have to integrate in the TC 5.1 in the way that to consider this CPPS challenge. It could be that you want not to give, the main foundation definition, because we have a lot of worldwide initiative that we speak about industry, we speak about factory of the future, so the consideration about CPPS, is not exactly the same in different initiatives today. So I think one aspect could be that to find what is the right way to define CPPS. Another aspect from that is, how manufacturing plant control can be impacted by this new CPPS consideration. It's what I said to you. We have to provide new achievement about features. We have perhaps to consider new ICT. So sure that we have to open new way. And so with this new way, we have also new scientific orientation. One question is also, why not to create something new working group, but perhaps not working group only to TC 5.1, but that it is a novel orientation for all the TC. Why not for different CC? So I think Ifac have also to find a good way in order to introduce this CPPS consideration in Ifac. So and also some aspect about relationship with the other TC, and one aspect also about TC 5.1, it was I said yesterday during the meeting, is perhaps also that we have to decide to modify the topic of TC 5.1 to be more to be more in advance and perhaps to delete some old topics, like I don't know if you have an interest now to work about hierarchical systems, because about control for hierarchical system, a lot of papers were already developed, and I am not sure that it is a good way for TC 5.1 to continue to work on very past consideration about control. So it is my last point of my presentation. Thank you, sorry for your attention.
Thank you very much, Benoit, for this insight on the TC 5.1 and what is your idea, or the TC idea, about what can be the future of the TC. Let's give me the floor to the TC 5.2, Dimitri, who will do the same exercise.
If you want to change this.
Okay. Thank you, Erim. Hello, everybody. I am Dmitry Ivanov, and I would like to present what happens in TC5.2, which is manufacturing modeling for management and control. The TC, similar to TC5.1, has a long history, and in the last 6 years, it was mainly shaped by the leadership of Alexandre Dolguy. I took over this committee last year and would like to discuss with you what we are doing and how we can improve, extend our activities in future. So actually, I'm going to present the scope of our TC, working groups that we have, because I guess it is one of the best options to describe what happens in the TC when considering what the working groups are doing within this. And future developments will continue my presentation. Finally, I would like to point out and to draw your attention to our main triennial conference, MIM 2019, that will be organized next year in Berlin. So, this is the structure of our TC, as you can see. I'm chairing TC. We have 6 vice chairs: Alexandre Dolguy, Natalia Bartadze, Farouk Yaloui, Daria Battini, Enzo Frazon, and Oleg Gusikhin from 5 different countries. And in total, TC has 86 members. It is new roster from 22 countries. So if we compare roster of the previous triennial, it is about 20% renewal rate. So about 65-70 members continued in our TC, which is good. And we also have about 20 new members, which is also good for the development of new ideas in the TC. So here I just took it from our website, which you can find here. On the slide, the full list of the members, and on the website you will find all details, research focus, affiliations, and so on. So, to the scope of our TC, we aim at promoting development of decision support system for management, model-based decision support system for management of manufacturing and supply chain networks. And we can distinguish 4 major areas in the scope. The first one, models of manufacturing tasks in the production, such as assembly units, with the aim of designing architectures of workstations, cells, and production lines, quality issues, and model-based maintenance issues, optimization-oriented. The second dimension are models for manufacturing processes, which are aimed at the design of procedures for process planning, production planning and control, job and activity scheduling, inventory control, and logistics. The next level is supply chain level, models of supply networks aiming at supply chain design, planning, and control. And the highest modeling level in the hierarchy, if you consider from the manufacturing systems, processes, supply chains, up to the networks of Industry 4.0 networks, cyber-physical system, and digital technology-oriented approaches to enhance the existing decision support systems. If I was designing this presentation, of course, I was also looking at what other TCs are doing in CC5 and came up with this very simple classifications that you can see in the slide. TC51, manufacturing plant control, has its main focus on the shop level control. TC52 as modeling, as management focus, has its application in the management decision support systems, model-based decision support systems for management decisions in manufacturing, in supply chains. 5.3, it's about networking, integrating, enterprise modeling, and 5.4 has main focus on control theory, its application to large-scale control systems. So just so you can roughly allocate the scope of our TC into the full activities of CC5, as now, of course, it is a continuous improvement process which we would like to design jointly with you. So, in order to describe in detail what happens in the TC, I guess it's one of the best options to look at working groups, what we are doing in the working groups. We have 7 active working groups in the TC, which you can see here in the slide, represented by many countries from many continents. The first, they are arranged here in the sequence of appearance, so not in the sequence of importance, of course, but in the sequence of the appearance in the TC. And the oldest group is Supply Network Engineering, established by Alexandre Dorgui. I joined as co-chair this group 4 years ago, I guess. And we renamed this group this year into Digital Supply Network Engineering and Management. So not only renamed, but also adjusted the content of what we are doing in this area. Next group, it's about advanced multi-criteria applications in manufacturing and logistics. This group, it's about to change its scope for the next years. So they provided a lot of contributions to previous INCOM and MIM conferences on this area. Now they are looking at new trends and new orientation of the working group. We have a working group on design and control of reconfigurable manufacturing system, which are also active at last Ifac Congress, of course. And then we have groups on integrated maintenance management, risk analytics operations, and 2 very new groups, very young groups on intelligent methods and systems supporting supply chain decision making and human factors in manufacturing. So for this INCOM, our TC is co-sponsor, and we contributed 13 invited sessions and 47 papers. So, to sum up with the trends, if we look at what our working groups are doing, we came up with 3 major trends. The first trend we can observe, it is resilient and digital manufacturing networks in the era of Industry 4.0. On one hand, we have Industry 4.0 as enabling technology. At the same time, this technology allows us to apply numerous advanced models in management decision support systems for design, scheduling, and control of both resilient and digital manufacturing networks. So it is a future trend number 1, resilient and digital manufacturing. The next trend that we observed in the TC is data analytics for decision support systems and manufacturing, with numerous applications like risk and operations management, so analytics from big data, manufacturing control using smart data, big data, and also real-time control, for example, real-time scheduling using different data from sensors from different devices in manufacturing. And the third trend is human-centered and sustainable manufacturing. On one hand, we have very active working group on human aspects in manufacturing. At the same time, the issues of sustainable manufacturing techniques such as closed loop supply chain, circular economy become more and more important. So there are 3 trends for future that we can identify as the work of our TC. Okay, and finally, I would like to draw your attention to our main conference of our TC5 triennial conference. It's going to be in Berlin next year, 28, 29, and 13 of August. Last MIM conference was in Troyes 3 years ago with about 550 participants, and before 2013 in St. Petersburg in Russia with more than 300 participants. We already have a website, mim2019.com, so if you are interested, you are cordially invited to join MIM to submit your tracks and session proposals. The scope of the conference considers different areas which we see here at INCOM, so I hope this conference would be interesting for many of INCOM attendees too. We have already some special issues in journals for our MIM conference. Here you can see some selection of special issues. There will be special issue in the International Journal of Production Research, in Annals of Operations Research, Flexible Services and Manufacturing Journal, Production Journal, and also, as yesterday confirmed by Andrew Kusiak, there will be special issue in Journal of Intelligent Manufacturing. So we hope to produce huge scientific impact beyond the conference itself with such special issues. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dimitri. So next talk is from Georg Weichart, the chair of the TC 5.3. I hope it will take less time than the 2 first, to have time to discuss and to hear your voice. So this is the objective.
Thank you, Hervé. Good morning. My name is Georg Weichert. I'm from Profactor, a private research company in Austria. I'm also giving some lectures at the Johannes Keppel University in Linz, also Austria. I'm happy that I'm heading a group on enterprise integration and networking, and that 2 of my vice chairs, Arthur Fass-Berglund and David Romero, are also with us. Unfortunately, the others 2 weren't able to come. But together at the TC meeting, we did work on these slides together in order to give you not only an impression what we did, but with also what the group thinks about the future of manufacturing. So I will, yes, Hervé, I will give a focused and sharp overview of our group. Some of the selected topics, what we are focusing in our work is integration and interoperability. We are very much interested not only in the technical aspects, but also in the human aspects and how the humans and machines or agents and robots can work together seamlessly. We are crossing the technology levels. We are not working only on machine shop floor, but also on higher levels of the enterprise. We are interested, and we see it as a challenge and an opportunity to have these cyber physical systems and Internet of Things technologies available, a lot of connected devices that want to work together seamlessly. Of course, automatic control is still an important issue in DTC because it's Ifac. We are also working on some formal, semi-formal approaches, but also on applied research. The production process is important and the connected machines and enterprise systems in general. In our TC meeting, we talked about a lot of the future of manufacturing. How can we pinpoint from our TC point of view what we think the future is about? To our understanding, the future is about intelligent enterprise systems of systems. It's capable of rearranging on the spot. It's interoperable. It's connecting seamless modules. It might adapt due to these loosely coupled interoperable modules that form the enterprise. This interoperability ranges from the shop floor to the higher enterprise systems. from the machine levels to management processes. It includes software, humans, machines, anything in the enterprise and across enterprises you need to manufacturing products. It is capable of continuous evolving because of its capability to be interoperable and to be an interoperable system of systems, and where the systems can decouple and rearrange and couple in a new manner and a new form. Of course, this new enterprise is also an environment for digital native, this future enterprise is also a good environment for the digital natives that will work in the future enterprise. Yes, there are some overlaps with the other TCs. Some of the colleagues just mentioned that integration, interoperability is an issue also with the other TCs. Modeling is in the heart of the whole CC, so we are all working with, let's say, symbolic approaches that allow us to reason and to make our models. I'm not going into detail because we already seen something, and in order to stay, give you time also to talk about your issues. I also would like to announce that we have a workshop upcoming. There's still time to work on the contributions in order to discuss elements of integration, interoperability, and networking in the enterprise. I would warmly welcome a lot of papers from you. This year's Javier and myself, we've read it and are doing the chairing the workshop, and it will be in Malta in Valletta. So I tried to be short to give you more time. Thank you for that. Welcome to the discussion.
Thank you. So now it's your turn. As you have seen in the presentation, mainly the end of those presentations where they are talking about future topics, we can see in all of them some keywords. Sometimes these are buzzwords. All of them are speaking more or less about industry of the future, factory of the future, industry 4.0. All of them are more or less speaking about cyber physical systems because probably they are buzzwords. I know that some of you think that this is not the future. This is something that exists, and it's something that existed in the past. We only change name. Maybe it's the case. We are hearing a lot of things about artificial intelligence. So should we introduce artificial intelligence topics inside the technical committee, even if we are not in the domain of computer science, we are in the automatic control and production engineering? These are some of the questions where I'm waiting that you are giving your voice, your point of view. So who would like to start?
Hi. I would like to draw the attention to a topic that was not talked about, and I believe it's our business to solve it. We cannot imagine the future industry without actually giving what I call architectural solutions to the great security and safety problems of these systems. We cannot just say we are going to solve all the control problems and then the security people come after that and solve the security stuff. It doesn't work like that. It is our business to come up with architectural solutions, reference models, reference architectures that actually on a systemic level try to solve these problems. So I would like to propose that somehow this topic be taken very seriously, perhaps on every single committee, because every single committee addresses a different perspective of the same system.
Thank you, Peter. just a small comment. I had it on my slide. Architectures are part of our environments, considering on integration and interoperability. I just skipped over it a little bit, maybe too fast. Sorry for that. Yes, that's an important topic for providing the architecture and the frameworks for others to then continue working there.
Okay. What about, yes, Mario.
Hi, this is some reflection that comes after seeing and after talking with you, with all of you. And my question is, all of you speaks about intelligence, all of you speaks about knowledge. Do you think it's important for all the TC and the CC defining these two concepts to have a border where we have the possibility and the facility to go through? I think without a precise definition, because we speak about EMS, we speak about adaptability and so on. Without a precise definition of these two concepts for us, it could be quite misleading towards the other CC and also towards the external point of view.
Thank you, Mario. As you have heard in the presentation, most of them are talking about Industry 4.0. Industry 4.0, there are many definitions. Depending on the country where you're living, the name can change, but the content also. Or either it's more technology-based, either it's more social-based, either it's more organizational-based. And we don't have sometimes the same definition. I will launch, together with my colleague, Vice Chair of the Technical Board of Ifac, I will launch a kind of questionnaire that we will prepare and we will send by email to all of you, all attendees of INCOM, in order to get from you your point of view about the research around Industry 4.0, Industry of the Future, all this name, China 5.0, no, made in China, I think in China they say that. Every country has different name, different objective, different money, of course. So I will launch this questionnaire. You will all receive this questionnaire, and I hope that everybody will answer, because you are almost 400 attendees, 46 countries. If we have something from each of the 46 countries, you can imagine the richness of this content. So I hope we will have. But before that, now, could you now, someone of you, talk about what do you think about Industry 4.0? What are you doing in your country about Industry 4.0? Do you think we should introduce this buzzword or something around that in the TCs? In which TC? For which purpose? Who can say something?
Yeah, I think yesterday when we had the industry academia panel was interesting, because also the message that we wanted to send to the community, it's also what's happening in Italy, also because we have representatives from industry. And what's interesting now, okay, apart from the fact that the Industry 4.0 has different declination all around the world. So the Chinese, they talk about more Industry 1.0 on their side, or smart manufacturing 1.0, because it's a different concept than what we are conceiving in Western countries. There was also the interesting question yesterday from the colleague from Vietnam, I think, about Industry 1.0 declined in not developing country. So that's a very, very important topic, because it's a completely different way and the capability you need according to the local culture, the local also economy, the complexity of the economy also this. What is interesting, I think, from my point of view, that Industry 4.0 is a further evidence of the need of integration between industry and academia. The experience that I got also talking with Carlos, and that we have also, remember in Ottawa we had Detlef Zulke having his keynote speech on smart factory, is trying to compenetrate more industry and academia. So the idea of the pilot projects, the lighthouse, what we call plants that we have in Italy. So having academia getting into real plant and having companies opening their plants to make their plants real working, and so not just a pilot, not just a demo or a lab, but retrofitting, improving, upscaling, upgrading these factories while they are still living and working. That's a real challenge also from our point of view. So my the suggestion or my wish would be try also taking into account your questionnaire to understand how this compenetration, how this integration between industry and academia is going on. Because I think that it's an opportunity, but it's a challenge that we cannot miss. Because if we act badly with the companies, then they reclose their factory. So that's a very, very, very important point from my point of view, and we should discuss about this. We should discuss about how to how to put together this experience in different countries.
The voice of Israel.
Right. Just one word about my background. I actually offered a session on the Industry 4.0 here, and we had lots of submissions, and basically we had to open 2 sessions. So I'm actually talking after hearing these 2 sessions. The sessions were very successful, and they had kind of major frame lines that actually may answer some of the questions or question marks that were raised here. So the first thing that I can say about all the presentations, they were talking about technologies that are either proven as a prototype or even more. Some are talking about technology proof of concept, but it's definitely not something that is say futuristic. So it's something that is in some level of technology readiness level, as we know it, and basically I think it was a very relevant, very important thing to raise our awareness of these things that are evolving right now. And when I'm talking about these things or technologies, we heard a lot about the connectivity and interoperability and this type of thing, but this is only one part of the whole picture. There's a big, very large improvement and enhancement of the cognitive ability, computer vision technologies, and sensing abilities are advancing hand in hand with the antenna capabilities. Whoever heard about the 5th generation antenna capabilities, which are assuming the same thing that Industry 4.0 assumes. We assume that cameras are going to be ubiquitous. Artificial vision is going to be much more advanced, and we know lots of capabilities, impressive ones that we have right now. And so the big opportunity, and I tend to agree with what Sergio said, we have a huge opportunity. Sergio said that, and I think we see a huge opportunity for research and industry to go hand in hand. And we had one time that research was leading, and then we had an era where industry was leading. And today, I think it's a big opportunity for both research and industry to go hand in hand. And actually, if we look forward to the next few years, we can come up with much more work together. So this is my view. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are two countries, Italy, Israel, US, China, Brazil, okay, Brazil. We have still 42 countries to hear now, today. So,
Like I mentioned, I think you discussed...
and we have 15 minutes total.
You discussed yesterday in the RTC meeting, I think we'd stress what just Sergio indicated. I think that would be very nice if we could get all those 46 countries to share the experiences and get more industry involved. I think they're not going to be contradictory. I also agree that, for instance, security is a topic that is still missing. We have a lot of smart, but and I think it's important that was covered there. And this was one topic that was raised in this industrial panel discussion, very high. We have yesterday night, also during the gala dinner, we were discussing this about the attacks and cyber attacks. The guy from ABB was telling, they are providing very automation for critical infrastructure, what is almost every day happening there. And also the idea, another topic I think is important, and we do have now in the Ifac this vice chair for education, because also was discussed with this retraining, the people are thinking in terms of the future, and I think it can be really confusing. I like also what Benoit showed, that is actually the TCs have been more or less organized in this, inspired by the automation pyramid, hierarchy and so on, and now we have everything more or less hierarchical, and it's not easy to really how to structure at the end. But I think it's important, and I like also the presentation. We can see that we do have overlaps, that's natural in the TC, but each TC knows more or less what is the main focus, and that I think is very important. But again, we in Brazil right now we have a lot of becoming a lot of support from the federal government, because the industry now is finally wake up in Brazil for the Industry 4.0, want to understand what is, and what, as I mentioned in this panel, to understand how we can come from this. They did a kind of assessment in Brazil. We are at the level 2.5 in average of all those companies. How to come from 2.5 to 4.0, even to 5 if you go further. And I think that would be having this kind of I'm not sure if it's a working group or initiative inside the CC to share those experiences can be very interesting. To get them involved and really, and nowadays with the whole web-based possibilities, you can really eventually have access to remotely to some of those plans, to learning material. I think this discussion of understanding, and I think it is something is covered in our CC very well, this, what is the real context and the real semantic behind those concepts. And like you mentioned, what you mean by intelligent, what do you mean by adaptability? And I think it's really that by doing this example, you can work more concretely on those topics and explain, even in terms of educating the young generation, what this mean, what is different when you talk about intelligent or only, does not mean that all the other control automation are dumb. It's really that you're talking about particular capabilities that you have. All right. I would really support it.
So, thank you, Carlos.
Yeah, I would like to add something with regard to what you say, just to take from my point of view the example about TC 5.1. So I take the TC as it was. So now a big question, I fully agree with you that from my point of view, we are in a turning point about what is happening about CC5. If you take the example about industry or something like that, for example, in France, we speak about industry of the future, not industry 4.0 or for what you want. Why we say that, from my point of view, is we say that it represents what we can do for the future in the way that we try to reindustrialize the French nation, but also, of course, what will be the place of the human people. And if we take this situation like this one, perhaps this organization about the TC inside the CC is not the right one. From my point of view, it could be the start that if we start with what is the place of the human people inside the plant or inside manufacturing, so it means that we have to attack the problem in order to be able to keep the people inside the plant, as it was discussed yesterday. And so it means that perhaps the structuring about the TC is not the right one, from my point of view. So it means I fully support the fact that after that you need to be in connection with the TC on education. You need necessarily to be connected really with the TC on human. I don't remember the name of the TC or the CC on Ifac. So what it means that you can reinverse the principle. Okay, security is important, but before to speak security, you have to know that the problem is not first the technology. The problem that what you want, what is your social impact about what we would like to do. So Ifac at this time about manufacturing and things, so it's a big question. We need to attack manufacturing with technology. We need to attack manufacturing as a way that to keep the human guide inside factory. So it is also the difference between the different nations, from my point of view. So perhaps it means that to modify, I fully support the fact that modify also the border about the TC and the scope of the TC. But it is, I think so in that way, it is a really big, important issue that to rethink, or how we can, if we have to stay in that way, or if we really think about, for example, to have an umbrella which is in new industry of the future or something like that, and to reorganize the border of the TC with regard to that.
You're right. Thank you, Benoit. Nice perspective, but difficult perspective, probably.
It's your job, Hervé.
Thank you. Well, yes?
Yes,
the French voice.
Aerospace. I'm coming from the industry, and I don't know in which version of industry we are now, but it shows that we have some transformation to make. And as Benoit says, that there is always some human inside the plant. And I think it is very important for industry to get how to get the transformation of that. I see in the conference many subjects dealing with human interoperability and etc. And I think that maybe one subject is maybe to highlight is how to make the transformation. Transformation in short term, medium term and long term for industry, and maybe the group of researchers that you are may have some reflection on their social and humanity transformations, responsibilities. So maybe there is some idea to construct some new way of thinking the new TCs like this.
You're right, because we are hearing a lot about digital transformation of enterprises from a human point of view, from a technological point of view, and from a society point of view. And we don't have this topic, digital transformation, in the TCs, and it's something that there is a great demand from the industry. So something maybe has to be done either in one TC, either between them, because it's not specific for one TC. I don't know, but this is really important. You're right. You're right.
I would like to add something from CC5 too, in terms of digital transformation. If you look at management decision support systems, the usual way to think it's optimization and simulation as major tools for improving management decisions. At the same time, we now have digital factory, and we say manufacturing system, supply chain, it's as good as digital technology behind this manufacturing process and supply chain. So that's why to combine these two views, classical view of optimization and simulation, model-based support, and digital technology, data-driven control, to improve manufacturing and supply chain. This is the unique feature which we actually have here along all the TCs. So I'm actually from operations research community, right? And this community thinks in terms of objective function and constraints. And here we can look at the same problems from different perspectives, of perspective of information control. And combination of these two views, it's really exciting. And this is what we are going to enhance within TC and in cross TC collaboration as well.
Yes, and also in the future, some time ago we talk about the knowledge of the future, because knowledge is something also that it's many years that we are talking about knowledge we will have in the future, but I'm not sure we we have done everything about knowledge management and from the human perspective, but also maybe on the robots and cobots and this kind of things. There are maybe some things to do. Another voice from US, China, France, again there, okay. But other continents, I would like to hear them. We have 4 minutes for the total one. So, Eddie, please, not too long.
I don't want to talk for in the name of France, of course. I just want to give my
from your name, of course.
To give my impression on that. First of all, I want to agree with what has been said before concerning the security, because more and more the systems are being distributed physically and functionally. So trustworthiness and security is a real issue. I think so. Big provider, big manufacturer like Siemens, Schneider, and so are already integrating by design security, trustworthiness inside the device. So I think it should be also a key point, a key element in the specification requirements for all model concerning control, management, etc., that should integrate this feature inside. I think it should be really a big focus on that. Secondly, I saw in the different items that we are very concerned with the relation between human and robot, human and machine. That's good, robotic and so on. I think that in the new century that we are just entering in, there's another topic that is important, is how to put the man inside the machine. We have several methods, technology for that, artificial intelligence, machine learning, socio-mimetic approach. I think that the people, individual, is not only made to work cooperatively with the process, but somehow it should be his idea, his feeling, how it feel the system, how it take decision, should be inspired inside the embedded device, inside the system. So maybe I should propose to integrate something like human inside the machine.
Thank you. Thank you, Eddie. Yes? Janusz. Wait.
I don't need that.
No, you need. People are behind, will not hear you.
Okay.
Nobody will hear you.
So it is the diktat.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, if you are using the word Industry 4 or factory of the future, which concept is very well known from the dozen of the years, in fact, we are talking about the transformation process. And in my opinion, today, it is a kind of concept of doing business. It is a voice which are coming, from industry, from the business and various associations, because in fact we are on the crossing. What we can do to achieve, the added value in the existing new era, and in fact, it is the way. Now it is a question if we can to find the way to achieve added value as a result of the using existing and known resources like human, technology, networking, working in a different way, including sustainability aspect, be closer to the nature, also crossing to the way of the thinking and approaches based on the today distributed process and knowledge. Also, including also human position connected with the technology. It is, the great challenge, and why, in my opinion, what Sergio said, to solve that problem, it's necessary to work together both with the practitioner and theoretician. It means academia and business. Because otherwise, individually or quite working in a different way, it will be impossible to achieve what I said at the beginning, added value. And practically, it is a challenge for both institution or group of the institution. I'm talking about the industry and academia, because each have their particular knowledge and practice and resources. But how to use that together and achieve something as an added. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And you're right that collaborative working is something that we must teach to our students. Maybe they don't know how to work collaboratively. Marco. Too close.
No, I have just a comment, a reflection, basically reinforcing some other that were already provided by, of course, by Sergio, by Janos, about this need to collaborate between industry and academia, which is relevant. I would like also to remark a little bit also the fact that we see that digital transformation is asking a multidisciplinary approach, multiple perspectives. So I think that the need to get multiple perspective comes from us. I mean, maybe not restructuring the TC, which is too hard, it was a joke, I don't know. But I'm saying that coordination is relevant, I think, in my opinion, to have multiple perspectives from different TCs. In that sense, I mean, just from a simple basic like foundations terminology to higher level objective, which may be some coordination within working groups that looks from different perspectives the same problem. So overall, my reflection is about the fact that Industry 4.0 or this digital transformation has many perspectives. Technology, humans, information system integration, application at control level and management level. Probably we need to rely on a good coordination between TCs to find a good way to find common terminology, common approaches, of course, considering the specialization of each one. That's my consideration.
Thank you, Marco.
Yes, thank you for highlighting once again that there's an interoperability challenge on semantic and on pragmatics level.
Yes. Last question, last comment. After the chairs of the conference told me that I must stop.
One of the transformation results we are witnessing is that there is a changing nature in manufacturing to more distributed, or even, if I could use the term, redistributed models. That has a profound impact in terms of the location of manufacturing, more agility, manufacturing components in multiple locations, impact on time when that has to be made available, especially if it is linked to combined product and services, impact on scale, as manufacturing has to respond to down to lot size one manufacturing. So one aspect that might be further explored within the CC is how we go about redistributed manufacturing and services together. Yep, that's it.
Thank you. So we can continue the discussion around the coffee now, before the next session. Of course, we will need more hours to discuss about this. I think in one day, we still have many things to say, which is impossible in the context of the conference. Thank you for the TC chairs for having played having doing that presentation, that discussion. Thank you for all of you. You will receive soon this questionnaire that I told you. I hope everybody will take 5 minutes, 10 minutes to give its opinion, because it's valuable if we have many answers. If you have only 10 answers, it's a waste of time. So I hope you will do that. And I'm waiting you, we are waiting you in the next session, just after the coffee break. Thank you.